Hello everybody. Today we'll talk about the male reproductive system. Reproductive system is a very important and interesting system of the body. This is the only system which is completely different in a male and a female body. So the reproductive system of male body is the male reproductive system, and in the female body is the female reproductive system, and anatomically they are very different from each other. So both male and female reproductive systems perform two very important functions. One is reproduction. The name of this system is reproductive system. So reproduction is the main function, and male and female reproductive systems together perform this function. Okay, and reproduction of offspring, the new life. So just think that if in next 100 year no reproductive system works, then what will happen? The whole mankind will disappear from the earth, right? So in that way, reproductive system is a very powerful and important system. However, individual person's reproductive system or reproductive system for an individual is not that essential. You all know that we do remove the reproductive organs from the body, like ovary or uterus, right, or testes. You can remove them and live healthy. So for individual survival, reproductive system is not essential, but for the entire mankind, um, it is very important. Anyway, so reproduction is one important function, and male reproductive system produces sperm, and female reproductive system produces ovum or egg, and these two sex cells together form the new life. Okay, so offspring or new life. Okay, and these are called the sex cells. Male sex cell is the sperm, female sex cell is the ovum, also called gametes. So that is one important function, and another is production of sex hormones. Okay, sex hormones. Now, the male sex hormone testosterone and female sex hormones estrogen, progesterone, and sex hormones perform a number of important functions. Because of the sex hormone, the male and female can be separated externally. Because of the reproductive system, you can see the difference between a male and a female externally, and those features are called the secondary sex characteristics are given by the sex hormones. Also, sex hormones help in the growth and maturation of the reproductive functions, and also sex hormones regulate the sexual behavior and drive, desire. Those functions are given by the sex hormones. So these are two important functions given by the reproductive system. Male reproductive system is less complicated than the female reproductive system, uh, because you know that the main function of male reproductive system is the production of sperm, right, and sex hormones. However, female reproductive system performs some additional functions. Female reproductive system produces ovum and sex hormones. However, additional functions are like fertilization that takes place inside the female reproductive system. After fertilization, implantation, and the production of the embryo, formation of the embryo, and the embryo becomes, fetus inside the mother's body. So female reproductive system performs much more functions than the male reproductive system, and that's why the female reproductive system is more complicated. As well as a couple of important cycles take place in the female reproductive system: the ovarian cycle, menstrual cycle. So those must be regulated or controlled in the female reproductive system. So anyway, first we'll talk about the parts or organs of the reproductive system. We'll see the primary reproductive organs of male and female, and accessory reproductive organs of male and female. Then we'll talk about the male reproductive system, the pathway of sperm, spermatogenesis, the production of sperm, uh, glands in the male reproductive system. Then we'll talk about the primary male reproductive organs, testes. Two testes are the primary male reproductive organs. Okay. Why testes are the primary reproductive organs? Because production of sperm occurs inside the testis. So sperm production is the most important function of male reproductive system, and that occurs inside the testis. That's why testes are the primary. In case of female, ovaries are the primary female reproductive organs, because ovaries produce the egg or ova. Okay. We'll talk about the scrotum that houses the testis, regulation of temperature inside the scrotum, and the structure of the sperm. First, we'll see the primary and accessory reproductive organs in both male and female reproductive systems. As I mentioned, that in case of male, testes are the primary, and in case of female, ovaries are the primary. Why? Testes produce the sperm, male sex cell, and ovaries produce ovum or egg. And these two things together form the new life, right? As I mentioned earlier. So that's why these are the primary male and female reproductive organs. Testes and ovaries also secrete sex hormones. Okay, androgen is the male sex hormone, and which produces testosterone, and estrogen, progesterone, female reproductive sex hormones. Accessory reproductive organs include ducts, tube-like structures, glands, and external genitalia. Okay, now sex hormones. As I mentioned, sex hormones perform a number of important functions: development and function of the reproductive organs, growth and development of secondary sex characteristics. These are the characteristics that give a male and a female the external appearances or features. By looking at those features, you can separate a male and a female. So what are the male secondary sex characteristics given by male sex hormone testosterone? We can mention facial hair, right, in male because of testosterone, prominence of skeletal muscle, more masculine body, broader shoulder, shoulder, also deep voice, loud, Adam's apple, laryngeal prominence, right? Baldness. So these are given by the male sex hormone testosterone, and these are male secondary sex characteristics. In case of female, the secondary sex characteristics given by the female sex hormones estrogen, progesterone, and those include high pitch voice, you can hear from far, not loud but high pitch. Okay, subcutaneous fat under the skin, fat under the skin, uh, broader hip, or mammary gland or female breast, right? So these are the external features in the female body, and these are given by the female sex hormones. Sexual behavior and drive, desire, those are also given by the sex hormones. So in male body, the primary organs are testes located inside the scrotum, and accessory organs include external genitalia. External genitalia includes penis and scrotum, those two organs. And then accessory sex glands, seminal vesicles, 2, prostate 1, and 2 bulbourethral glands. So these are the glands in the male reproductive system. Okay, and these two are the external genitalia, penis and scrotum. Okay. Now we'll see the scrotum. Scrotum houses the testes, so two testes are located inside the scrotum, and the scrotum is located outside of the body cavity. So it is not located inside the abdominal or pelvic cavity, and the outer layer of the scrotum is the skin, right? And then you have superficial fascia, connective tissue fascia, and then you have also muscle. So those are the structures present in the wall of the scrotum. We'll see that in next picture. So scrotum is a sac of skin and superficial fascia. So skin and superficial fascia, and hangs outside of the abdominopelvic cavity. And why it is not inside the body cavity? Because the temperature inside the body cavity is high. However, for the testes to produce sperm, you need lower temperature, lower than the body temperature, which is you know uh, outside of the body. Inside the body, temperature is higher. So that's why the scrotum is outside of the body, and the testes are located inside it. And the temperature inside the scrotum is 3 degrees Celsius lower than the core body temperature, which is ideal for the spermatogenesis, production of sperm. Sperm production. Okay. Now See here, this is the scrotum here. So first you have the skin, the outermost layer. Okay, so this is the skin, and then you have superficial fascia, and then muscle, dartos muscle. So those are three things in the wall: dartos muscle, skin, and superficial fascia. Okay, now the inside the scrotum there is a septum, that partition that separates the scrotum into two halves, two compartments. That is called the middle septum of the scrotum. Middle septum of the scrotum. And a cord-like structure, that cord is called the spermatic cord, that uh, comes from above, and inside that spermatic cord uh, there are a number of structures. You see here, if you just cut the covering of the spermatic cord and see inside, you will see another muscle that is called the cremaster muscle. So this muscle is the cremaster muscle. So two muscles, one is in the wall of the scrotum, that is the dartos muscle, and another is coming from above, that is the cremaster muscle. Okay, and now if you remove these muscle fibers and see inside, you will see the blood vessels, you'll see the nerve fibers, autonomic nerve fibers, you'll see the blood vessels, artery and vein, testicular artery and venous plexus, and also you'll see a tube that is called the ductus deferens or vas deferens. Okay, so sperm produces the testis produces the sperm, and that sperm gets out from the testis and taken uh, outwards through that tube, ductus deferens. Okay, so in this side you see that the spermatic cord is intact, and in this side they have shown the structures after you remove the cremaster muscle. Okay, so inside the spermatic cord you have the first you have the cremaster muscle, then you have the testicular artery, venous plexus, and autonomic nerve, as well as this tube that is called the ductus deferens or vas deferens. Okay, and here this is the testis. In this side you see the testis is covered by the cremaster muscle. So if you remove the muscle, you will see the testis. Okay, and on the testis a comma shaped or C-shaped structure is attached like this, that is called the epididymis. Okay, so this is testis and this is the epididymis. Okay, so testis, sperm is produced inside the testis, and then uh, the sperm enter into the epididymis and then enter into the ductus deferens, this tube, and that tube, long tube, take the sperm outwards. Okay, now two muscles are here. So this is one muscle coming from above, located inside the spermatic cord, that is the cremaster muscle, right? And this is the testis. So this muscle is attached to the testis. So this is the cremaster muscle, and in the wall of the scrotum you have a muscle, that is the dartos muscle. So here in the wall you have the dartus muscle. Okay. This is another testis, cremaster muscle. So cremaster muscles are actually holding the testes from above and keeping them in right location inside the scrotum. Okay, and in the wall of the scrotum you have the dartus muscle. So this is dartus muscle and this is cremaster muscle. Okay, and how these muscles help to maintain the temperature inside the testis. You remember, inside the testis the temperature must be uh, lower than the body cavity, about 3 degree less. So when the body temperature increases, what happens? The cremaster muscle relaxes. Okay, so the testis moves downwards. When these muscles relax, right, the muscle fibers relax, then the length increase. So the testis will go away from the pelvic cavity. Here is your pelvic cavity, so will go further down. Also the dartus muscle relaxes, so the scrotum will also get bigger, right? So we'll move down, the testis will go away from the body, and that will help to maintain the temperature. Now if outside of the body the temperature drops in cold weather, what will happen? The dartus muscle and cremaster muscles will contract. So the dartus muscle, when the dartus muscle contracts, the scrotum squeezes, gets smaller, right? So that will push the testis upwards towards the body, because body is always warm, right? So the testis will go close to the body to stay warm in cold weather. So you see, when your body gets hot, the testis goes away from the body, because inside the testis the temperature must be low. However, if the temperature is too low outside of the body, then the testis will move up, will go close to the body, so will stay warm. And that's how the scrotum regulates the temperature inside it, and that temperature is important for the spermatogenesis, the production of sperm. Okay, so here you see the external genitalia, the scrotum and the penis, and primary reproductive, male reproductive organs, testis, another is inside this spermatic cord, right? You see the ductus deferens, tube, those structures you can see in this picture. Production of sperm. Male gametes are sperm. Gametes are sex cells. Okay, male sex cells or gametes are sperm. Female gametes are ovum or egg. Okay, and so when we use the term gamete, that means sperm or ovum. These are sex cells. And the term gonads indicate testis, ovaries. Okay, so we can say that gonads produce gametes. Okay, and gametes produce new life. Male and female gametes, sperm and ovum, together form the new life, offspring. Okay. Now, inside the testis, the sperm are produced in the wall of the seminiferous tubule. So, tube-like structures inside the testis called the seminiferous tubule, and in the wall of the seminiferous tubule, the spermatogenesis or production of sperm takes place. Okay. Now, if you see inside the testis, what you will see? You will see uh, there are many lobules. Inside a testis, you have about 250 to 300 lobules. And these lobules are separated by septa, membrane-like structures separate inside the testis into 250 to 300 lobules, and in each lobule you have 1 to 4 seminiferous tubule. So if I see inside the testis, I will see septa, and so these are septa, okay, and in between two septa, this is a lobule, this is one lobule, this is another lobule. So you have 250 to 300 lobules, and inside each lobule you have coiled tube-like structures. Those are called the seminiferous tubules. In each lobule you have 1 to 4 seminiferous tubules. So these are seminiferous tubules. Okay, and if I just cut a tube, seminiferous tubule, uh, this is one seminiferous tubule. Just if I make a cross section, this is a tube-like structure. If I just make a cross section, this is the lumen, opening, and this is the wall, right? So in the wall of the seminiferous tubule, the sperm production of sperm takes place. So in the very outer part of the wall, you have the stem cells. So these are the stem cells, okay, called the spermatogonia, these stem cells. Then these stem cells multiply by mitosis, mitosis type cell division, mitosis first. Okay, so one stem cell or spermatogonium will give two new cells, right? By mitosis, one cell, mother cell, produces two daughter cells. So here one and here another. Okay, two daughter cells. One daughter cell will stay there as a new stem cell. So this is stay as new stem cell. Okay, and this one will move towards the production of sperm. So it will go through changes, okay, and finally become elongated and will get a tail and a body like this, and that is the mature sperm. So mature sperm has a head, a body, and a tail like this, and then eventually the mature sperm will get detached from the wall and will enter into the lumen like this, enter into the lumen. Okay, so from the stem cell to the most mature sperm. A number of steps are there, and the most mature sperm is called the spermatozoa. So spermatogonia are the stem cells, and spermatozoa are the mature sperm. So here you see inside the testes, these are the seminiferous tubules, okay, and septum. Septum is singular, septa plural, so there are many, okay, like this. And inside two septum is the lobule that I showed you, and this is a seminiferous tubule, okay. And this is inside the epididymis. So epididymis, as I showed you before, this is the testis, and this is the C-shaped structure. The epididymis is attached to the testis, and then from the epididymis a tube moves upwards through the spermatic cord. You see this tube, ductus deferens or vas deferens, that goes upwards and enter into the spermatic cord, okay, passes through the spermatic cord. Anyway, so this is testis, this is epididymis, okay, and epididymis has a head part. This is the head, this is the body, and this is the tail part. And from the tail part, the ductus deferens or vas deferens starts, okay. So this is ductus deferens or vas deferens. Okay, so what happens, you see, uh, sperm are produced inside the seminiferous tubule, in the wall of the seminiferous tubule, and then the mature sperm will enter into the lumen that I showed you in last slide, and then through these tiny tubes, these are called the straight tubules. So from the seminiferous tubule through the straight tubules, the sperm will enter into this network like structure, network of tubes, and this is called rete testis. So sperm from the seminiferous tubule through the straight tubules, the sperm will enter into the rete testis, and then from the rete testis the sperm will enter into the head portion of the epididymis, will enter here, and then through the body of the epididymis it will move down to the tail of the epididymis, okay, and then we'll enter into the ductus deferens. We'll go up like this, and then we'll get out, okay. So that is how the sperm travels after the mature sperm is formed. Now the covering of the testis. Testis has two coverings, okay, tunica vaginalis and tunica albuginea, okay. So this is the outer one, tunica vaginalis, and this is the inner one, tunica albuginea. So two coverings, and then you have many lobules inside separated by septa, and in each lobule you have 1 to 4 seminiferous tubule, coiled tube-like structures, okay. And the spermatogenesis or sperm production occurs in the wall of the seminiferous tubule. Okay, so this is the pathway: seminiferous tubule, then a straight tubule. Straight tubule is also called rectus tubulus. You probably remember the word rectus means straight. So we can say straight tubule or tubulus rectus. Okay. Then that network, retitestis, then efferent ductule, head of the epididymis, body, tail, then ductus deferens. Then from the ductus deferens, the sperm is given to the ejaculatory duct and then to the urethra, and through the urethra gets out from the body. Okay, so this urethra is also a part of the urinary system, right? So in case of male, in case of female, it is a part of urinary system, not reproductive, but in case of male, urethra is a part of both urinary system and reproductive system. Okay, so now you see here, this is the picture showing most of the male reproductive organs. So first, this is one half or one side. So this is the testis, one of two, epididymis, right? Ductus deferens or vas deferens. Now you can see that ductus deferens is a long tube, right? Going all the way here, all the way to this part, and then it gets here. You see here, this part it gets a little bit wider, and this part is called the ampulla of ductus deferens. The word ampulla indicates dilated part. Okay, so the end part of the ductus deferens is wider here, and that is the ampulla of ductus deferens. Okay, and this is the ejaculatory duct. So from the ampulla of ductus deferens, sperm enters into the ejaculatory duct here, this part. Okay, also you see, this is a seminal vesicle, which is actually a gland, and we have two seminal vesicles in male reproductive system, two glands, and the seminal vesicles produce semen. About 70% volume of semen comes from the seminal vesicle. Okay, so we have two. This is one side. So now you see the duct of the seminal vesicle also enters into the ejaculatory duct. So the ampulla of ductus deferens and the duct of the ejaculatory duct of the seminal vesicle, they join together here and form the ejaculatory duct. So now here you need to know that sperm is coming from the testis, right, all the way through the ductus deferens, then ampulla of the ductus deferens, and the sperm is entering into the ejaculatory duct here, and seminal vesicles produce semen, the fluid that also enters into the ejaculatory duct. So fluid, the semen and the sperm, they get together here. Okay, and then we'll enter into the urethra. This is the prostate here. So the urethra, first part of urethra is inside the prostate. That's why it is called prostatic urethra. Makes sense. So this is the prostate here, and this is the prostatic urethra. Then this is a diaphragm. You remember diaphragm, the big one, separates thoracic and abdominal cavity, the muscle. This is another small diaphragm in the body, and it is a muscle, and the urethra that passes through the diaphragm, that part is called the membranous urethra. Very shortest part. So first part is the prostatic urethra inside the prostate. Then membranous urethra passes through the diaphragm. This diaphragm is called urogenital diaphragm. Okay. And then the urethra enters into the penis. And this is the longest part of the urethra. That is the spongy urethra, also called penile urethra. Okay. So prostatic urethra, first part, it is about 2.5 centimeter long in male. Membranous urethra is 2 centimeter or less. And then the spongy urethra, this is the last part and longest part, about 15 centimeter long. Okay. So those are three parts of urethra: prostatic, membranous, and spongy. And now if you see inside the penis, there are, and these structures uh, help in the erection of penis as well as the enlargement. Okay. You see inside a cross section, this is the corpus spongiosum, and urethra is located inside the corpus spongiosum. So this is corpus spongiosum, only one. And inside the corpus spongiosum you have the urethra. So this is the urethra. Okay. And you have two corpus cavernosum. So this is one corpus cavernosum, this is another. So these two are corpus cavernosum. Okay. Corpus cavernosum is mainly important for the erection and enlargement of the penis. Why? Because inside the corpus cavernosum you have many spaces called sinuses, and you have artery inside the corpus cavernosum. So you have arteries. So this is an artery, okay, and this is urethra here. So inside the corpus spongiosum you have the urethra, and inside the corpus cavernosum you have the blood vessels. Okay, and what happens outside of the blood vessel, these are the sinuses, open spaces. So when the blood gets out from the blood vessel, that blood accumulates inside the sinuses. So fill these sinuses. These sinuses get filled with a lot of blood. So that causes the erection of and enlargement of the penis. Okay, so that's the mechanism. And when that blood gets back into the blood vessel, then it goes back to its previous shape, gets smaller. Okay, this is a cross section of the seminiferous tubule. You remember I said in the wall of the seminiferous tubule spermatogenesis or sperm production takes place. This is the lumen that I showed you before, and this is the wall. Okay, so you see near the outer surface you have the cells. Those are the stem cells. So stem cells are here, and these cells first go through mitosis and then maturation. And here the mature sperm, you see the head, body or midpiece and tail like this. So if you see near the lumen, the sperms are mature sperms and they are elongated. The shape changes, okay, and will get detached and will float inside the lumen. Okay, so the external genitalia are scrotum and penis. We already talked about the scrotum. Penis, we already talked part of it. So these are two external genitalia in male reproductive system. Penis has different parts: root, shaft, and glans penis. And the covering of the glans penis, the end part, is called prepose or foreskin. And sometimes surgical removal of foreskin is done, and that is called circumcision. And circumcision is the surgical removal of the foreskin which covers the glans penis. Okay. So let's see the parts. So this again, let's quickly go over the structures of the male reproductive system again. Testis, epididymis, long tube, ductus deferens, that takes the sperm right all the way to the end of ductus deferens, where the ductus deferens get wider, expands, and that is called the ampulla, right? And this is seminal vesicle, this is another one, and they join together in the ejaculatory duct here. Okay, so semen, the fluid, enters into the ejaculatory duct, and the sperm from the ampulla of ductus deferens enters into the ejaculatory duct. So sperm and semen, okay, they get together. Okay, so the semen is very important for the sperm. It gives nutrition and motility, and also help the sperm swim in it, so move. And here you see the root of the penis. This is the shaft or body, and this end part is the glans penis. Okay, so those are three, and the covering is the foreskin. Okay, now you see here inside the penis you have two corpora cavernosa. Inside the cavernosa you have many sinuses. You remember I said that already. So now if you make a cross section like this and see two corpora cavernosum, cavernosa is plural, and inside you have the arteries, blood vessel, deep arteries. Okay, and blood gets out to fill the sinuses, and that enlarges, and when blood gets back again gets smaller. And inside the corpus spongiosum, which is only one, you have the urethra inside. Okay, that I explained before. Okay, so ductus deferens takes the sperm out from the epididymis and gives the sperm to the ejaculatory duct, and from there the sperm enters into the urethra and gets out from the body. Now the ductus deferens, if you just cut the ductus deferens, dissect the ductus deferens, that is called vasectomy, because ductus deferens is also called vas deferens, right? So vasectomy is the dissection of the vas deferens or ductus deferens, and we do this to prevent the sperm getting out from the body. So if you cut here, and so the sperm will not be able to get out, right? Sometimes we can tie, or if this is the ductus deferens, right, we cut it. You can only just cut it, but there is a very little chance that they will join again. So better after you cut, you tie, not tie them or cotter them. Okay, this is a very easy surgery. You can just simply under the skin and superficial fascia, you have the inguinal canal, and inside that you will be able to find the ductus deferens. So you can just easily dissect it or cut it. So vasectomy is very simple surgical procedure. And 100% effective for birth control. Urethra, you remember I said urethra has three parts: prostatic part, membranous part, and spongy urethra. So here you can see this is the prostate, and inside the prostate, this part of urethra is prostatic. This is the urogenital diaphragm, and the part passes through the diaphragm, that is the membranous part. The shortest part and the longest part is inside the penis, that's the spongy urethra or penile urethra. Now, three types of glands. Two seminal vesicles produce 70% volume of semen that I mentioned already, and this semen produced in the seminal vesicles is viscous alkaline in nature, so not acidic, slightly alkaline. And then prostate, only one prostate, and you probably heard the term prostatitis, inflammation of the prostate, enlargement of the prostate, can cause painful urination. So anyway, when we get old, the prostate sometimes the prostate enlarges. Now the prostate produces the fluid which is milky, slightly acidic. So they are opposite, right? Seminal vesicle fluid is slightly alkaline and prostatic fluid is slightly acidic. And this fluid, acidic fluid, activates the sperm partially. Okay, so partial activation of sperm occurs by the prostatic fluid. Okay, and then bulbourethral glands. These are two very tiny glands in the urogenital diaphragm. You remember the diaphragm I showed you? It's a muscle through which the part of urethra passes. That's the membranous urethra, and you have bulbourethral glands here. These are tiny pea-shaped glands and secrete mucus, so slippery fluid, into the urethra. Then you have the penile urethra or spongy inside the penis. Okay, so three parts of urethra. Prostatic is inside the prostate, so this is the prostate. So this is prostatic urethra, this is urogenital diaphragm, membranous urethra, and inside the penis, the penile or spongy urethra. And these are bulbourethral glands. Okay, so let's see here. You see this is the urogenital diaphragm, that muscle, and these are tiny bulbourethral glands. Okay, so the secretion of bulbourethral gland uh, keeps the wall of the urethra slippery, reduces the friction. So produce thick, clear mucus. Spermatogenesis, as I mentioned, that the production of sperm occurs in the wall of the seminiferous tubule inside the testis, right? You must remember lumen. This is the wall. So here you have the stem cells. Okay, and first the stem cell divides by mitosis. So first cell division is mitosis, and mitosis produces two daughter cells. Okay, now when mitosis occurs, remember the mother cell produces two daughter cells, right? So one cell produces two cells, and the number of chromosomes here 46 pairs. And when mitosis occurs, mitosis keeps the chromosome number same in the daughter cells. Okay, so mitosis produces two daughter cells. However, the chromosome number remains same in both mother and daughter cells. So this happens. So the number of chromosome still 46 pairs. That means 2n. We say 2n. 2n here, 2n here. Okay. Then what happens? Meiosis. One will remain as a stem cell, you remember I said, and another will go to produce mature sperm. So we'll go through meiosis. Now meiosis has two steps, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. You see here, this is meiosis 1 here and then meiosis 2. So meiosis 1 will produce two cells from one cell, and then meiosis 2 will produce again two cells. So total we'll get, when meiosis 1 and 2 both are completed, we'll get four daughter cells. So like this. So mitosis, this one will stay in the wall here as stem cell, and this one will go through meiosis. So meiosis 1, first step, will produce two cells. Now here what is most important is the number of chromosomes will go down to 23 pairs. That means n. 2n will divide into 2n's. Okay, haploid number of chromosomes. Okay, and then what will happen? Meiosis 2. So this is meiosis 2. Will divide the cell again. Okay, in meiosis 2 the number of chromosome will remain same, so 23 in each. That means n, half, right? So in meiosis 2 the number will not be reduced. Okay, so you see when meiosis 1 and 2 both are completed, then from one cell we'll get four cells. and this cell has 2n or double chromosomes, and this one has half. Okay, this one, so we get 4 cells from 1 cells by meiosis. So if I ask you the differences between mitosis and meiosis, you can say mitosis, meiosis, two different types of cell divisions. Okay, mitosis occurs in all the cells of the body, including the sperm and ovum, right? You see here mitosis. So all body cells multiply by mitosis, including the sex cells, sperm and ovum. Meiosis only occurs during spermatogenesis and oogenesis. That means during sperm and ovum production, not in other body cells. So only in sex cells, sperm and ovum. Okay. Mitosis will produce two new cells or daughter cells, right? So here mitosis produces two daughter cells. However, keep the chromosome number same. Meiosis will produce finally 4 new cells, and in mitosis chromosome remains same, the number 2 and 46 pairs. In case of meiosis 1, the number reduced to half. Make sense? Now why during spermatogenesis and oogenesis meiosis should occur? This is very important. Meiosis should occur to reduce the number of chromosomes to half, n. So now you see each sperm, 4 sperms are here. Each sperm has half number of chromosome. Okay. Same way, when oogenesis or ovum is produced, the ovum also goes through meiosis, so the number of chromosome is reduced to half, n, 23. So now you see sperm and ovum, when they join together, the new cell will get 2n. Okay, 46 pairs, and half is coming from each parent. So father is giving 1n and mother is giving another n. So the new life has half number of chromosomes from each parent. That is very important. Okay, that's why meiosis should occur uh, during sperm and ovum production. So here you see that mitosis produces 2 cells, number of chromosome remains same, double. Here meiosis 1 and meiosis 2 produces 4 cells and half number of chromosomes. Okay. Okay, same thing here. You see this is the outer part of the wall. Okay, and this spermatogenesis. So this is occurring in the wall of the seminiferous tubule. So first you see this is the stem cell called spermatogonium. I mentioned before. Gonia is plural, gonium is singular. Okay. So if you see spermatogonia, this means more than one. Okay, gonium is one. and it will go through mitosis, will produce two daughter cells, both have same number of chromosomes as mothers, and this one will stay as stem cell, and this one will produce sperm. Okay, so first meiosis 1. Okay, this is meiosis 1, two cells, the number of chromosome reduced to half. Then meiosis 2, the chromosome remains same, so 4 sperm. Okay, and this one, uh, when the four sperm will be produced by meiosis 2, that new cells are called early spermatid. And then when early spermatid will go to the next stage, that is called late spermatid, and the configuration, the shape changes a lot when it moves from early to late. They see the sperm gets elongated, long, gets a head, midpiece or body, and a tail. Okay, so late spermatid and spermatozoa is the most mature sperm, Okay, so you see spermatogonium is the earliest stem cell, and spermatozoa is the most mature or uh, mature sperm. And the spermatogonium goes through a number of steps: mitosis, then meiosis 1, then meiosis 2, and also the name changes after each step. Okay, you see primary spermatocyte that enters into meiosis 1, and after meiosis 1 called the secondary spermatocytes, then after meiosis 2 early spermatid, and then early spermatid uh, becomes late spermatid, and the shape changes. So the sperm has three parts here. You see the head part, and this is called the midpiece, and this is the tail. So head, this is the mid piece, and this is the tail part. Okay, or flagella. And the chromosomes are located in the head part. You see here N, and the midpiece contains mitochondria, a lot of mitochondria here. Okay, so you see here this is the mature, gets detached and enter into the lumen. Sperm has three parts, so just I showed you, right? Head, then you have the midpiece, and you have the tail or flagella. Now head part has the chromosomes, half number of chromosomes, 23 pairs, and that's why the head part is called the genetic region. Why? Because you know that the genes, DNA, are located inside the chromosomes, right? So that is the genetic region. Midpiece contains a lot of mitochondria. Many mitochondria are packed inside the midpiece. And you know mitochondria are called the powerhouses, right? Produce ATP. So that's why the midpiece, mitochondria, and that's why the midpiece is also called the metabolic region. Why? The metabolism occurs inside the mitochondria to produce what? ATP, energy. And then tail part is flagellum, and this is called locomotion. Why? Because by the movement of the tail, the sperm moves. So this is the locomotion. Okay. To move the tail, you need ATP, right? So that is produced by the mitochondria. Now, the head has a crown or a cap like this, and this cap is called acrosome. Inside the cap, you have an enzyme that is called hyaluronidase or digestive type enzyme. Now, why this acrosome is important, this cap? This is the egg or ovum, okay? So, and this is the sperm. And you know that sperm gets attached to the egg, wall of the egg. And here is the acrosome, that covering of the head, and it secretes that enzyme, and that destroys the wall. So inside the egg you have the chromosomes, right? Half number of chromosomes. In the head you also have half number of chromosomes, right? So the sperm must penetrate through the wall of the egg or ovum. Okay, so to destroy the wall of the ovum, uh, sperm needs to secrete that digestive type enzyme. Here you see how the spermatid gets elongated, and these orange structures are mitochondria. They line up in the mid piece here, okay, and this is the acrosome, the cap, and the nucleus of the cell is located in the head part where you have the chromosomes. Okay, so that's why that's the genetic region and the tail. Okay, so now the abnormal sperms is one reason of male infertility. So if you test the semen of male and check under the microscope the condition of the sperm, two things we look at: the number of sperm we see in the semen. Sperm in the semen, if the number is low, then average or normal, then that could be one reason of male infertility. Another is abnormal sperms. Sometimes the number is same, normal, but the sperms are abnormal. We see two-tailed sperm. So these sperms cannot really move, or double-headed sperm, we also see that. Or the head and tail are not attached. Many cases, if you see under the microscope, you'll see that separated tail and head. So these are the sperms. They cannot really move and cannot fertilize the egg. So double-tailed, double-headed, or split sperm, all these are abnormal. And male infertility can or abnormal sperm production or decreased number of sperm can be a result of radiation or chemotherapy, or extreme heat, or some other drugs or chemicals that can cause that. So those are the things you need to know from the male reproductive system.